And the senior category is coming up next. Qualifying heat A versus D is going to be next out on circuit. This will see another one of the drivers who so far this weekend has not lost a race. Roman Kamyab's turn now to match Toby Gale of Thailand back on the scene. Also, of course, alongside with his brother Austin Gale, both now running with the Birolak Racing team. Well, great results in qualifying. Good-ish results in the qualifying heats. I mean, 8th and 13th. He has gone backwards in both of them, but the pace is there, and I think it's just waiting for that moment where he can strike on the rest of the drivers.
Yeah, and on course at the moment with those kind of results, that should be getting him through into the top 36. However, yeah, a lot of racing to go here today. We've still got, for these drivers, 3 rounds of heats, and we've already seen earlier on this morning just how quickly things can change in this sport. Yeah, just to check, I've got Toby Gale inside the top 30 at the moment on our calculations here in the box. 28 drivers should be out there. I don't think we've got any drivers missing off the grid for this one. We'll find out officially in a couple of moments' time. But nice and calm on the pre-grid there are our drivers ready for this last race of the 3rd round. Let's take you through the running order and the grid for this final heat in this part of proceedings for the seniors. Roman Kamyab starts in pole position, Vladimir Ivanikov alongside on the front row. Timo Ramikas, Thomas Brunier, they form up row 2. Toby Gale and Louis Cachet start from row 3. Leo Nielsen needs a good result here. 15th in the DQ yesterday. He's on row 4 alongside Sebastiano Pavan. Fausto Arnado and Jacopo Martinez go from row 5. Aston Schopp and Cara Furhand on row 6. Vilmos Svan and Boloet on row 7.
Row number 8 will see Markus Shilkunas in new colours, the Tony Kart Racing driver from Lithuania on row number 8. He'll be joined by Franciszek Studzielski alongside Klara Kowalczyk and Armin Kari Osman of Germany going for row number 9. They'll have Vengar Clemenson and Dragvan Troja rounding out the top 20 on row 10. Marcus Juncher and Victor Gustafsson on row number 11. The Swede and former world champion in the world of gearbox racing. Starting this one, the 11th row of the grid. We'll have Jorn Helder and Senemir on row number 12. Radek Vavra and Hugo Malti on row number 13. The entire field of 28 will be rounded out by Antonio Macedo and Narwin Netipaton on row number 14. Nice focusing on this one, and well, for Kamyab, job is simple. Take a 3rd win, try and match his fellow competitor.
Yeah, if he's to do that, he'll still have the tiebreaker, of course, from timed qualifying earlier on in the race meeting. Scores as they stand: Craigie 150, Peschel 132, Burnett 126, Turney 118, Krutalov 116, Wolf 115, Garst 113, Kelleher 1110. So those are the top 8 scores that these drivers in this race between groups A and D are trying to at least beat for now, with 2 more rounds of qualifying heats after this. Particularly well positioned to do that. Kamyab, as you mentioned, 2 wins so far. Ramikas 2nd and 6th. Pradier 3rd and 1st. Keep an eye on Louis Cachet as well in this race in the red and black helmet for the Victory Lane team. Starting 6th on the grid for this one. This is just the kind of setup where the French driver could move up the order a bit.
Yep, just that little bit. Let's see how this all transpires, though, as they go past the nation's flags on the start-finish straight into the tram lines. Lights are out, we are racing down in towards turn number 1. It's a good start once again for the pole side of the grid, but Vladimir Ivanikov does slot in there into 3rd and 4th place. They are still in a strong place, but it's all piling up there in the background. You could just see how they got swamped under braking, with drivers all trying to send it down the inside, and unfortunately pandemonium has struck on the entrance at turn number 4, and unfortunately the driver's out in that race in this stage. Now in the early stage, Bolowet's involved in that one. Klara Kowalczyk's off, Vengar Clemenson, Dragvan Troja, Marcus Juncher, Jorn Helder, and Narwin Netipaton. I think Hugo Marti also was caught out in that incident. But that's a big shame for them at the start of the race. Crucially at the front, though, Roman Kamyab leads, but Timo Ramikas is right there to play.
Yeah, really good work from the marshals down at turn number 4, who are going to have this incident cleared by the time the drivers get round. So just local yellows, no need for a slow procedure. That is tremendous work from the team here at the Rugby Karting Ring. And it means we can continue to enjoy this battle at the front of the field. Roman Kamiab and Thibaut Ramekers have already had 2 good scraps so far this weekend. They're in the same group as one another, Group A, so they will continue to race each other across the course of this afternoon. You can watch every single moment here on your Champs of the Future broadcast on your platform of choice. Let's have another look at that incident into turn 4. So where does this all begin?
Right there.
Ooh, yeah, so it was the 250 that went round first. That was Clara Kowalczyk who was encouraged into that one, and then simply nowhere for everybody else to go. Yeah, that one came from a far way back. The 278 victory lane of Vegard Clementson was completely out of control there, but I wouldn't say it was his fault.
No, indeed. Again, a first lap incident. You know, you have all the carts piling into these corners. They are bound to have moments like that. Yeah, very, very tough one. For drivers that did benefit then, of course, you got Martin gaining 4 in that moment, Macedo gaining 6, Vavra gaining 6 as well. As a change for the front, fight is on. Kamiab and Ramekers wheel to wheel here as they all try to switch over. Here comes Ivanikov down the inside, sends it through. Here comes Thomas Brunier, 2 for 1 special out of the final turn, but it's not over yet. Here comes Aston Sharp. He had a tough day yesterday, but he sends it down the inside and gets up into second place. But crucially, that was beautifully timed by Ramekers. He has broken away at the front now. That
was brilliant from the young Belgian. Pradier's going to have another go at Aston Sharp here for second place. Sharp needs a big result here to pull himself back into play. A retirement and then a disqualification after an incident with Zach Drummond in the second round were his results yesterday. So he's despite being good in qualifying, time qualifying, he is a long, long way down the intermediate classification right now. There's a big send down the inside from Leo Nielsen. Nielsen also had a disqualification after an incident in round 2 yesterday. Also, look at this scrap going on between Thomas Pradier. Pradier has got the switchback, but has he got the power down the straight to get alongside Sharp into turn 1? Sharp round the outside, shuts the door on the Frenchman. That's very brave stuff indeed, as through comes Cara Furhand as well. Cara Furhand up into the top 6. Don't think we've seen this so far this weekend for the driver flying the flag for Singapore, racing for Ward Racing. Of course, where has Kamiab dropped to all of this? It's down to 8th place. So this is going to be a real test now for Roman Kamiab. We've seen the race pace be very, very good in clean air. What has he got in terms of being in amongst it, in the middle of the pack? Can he make progress back through the field? He's trying to go around the outside of Toby Gale there. That opens the door for Vilma Svan to come back through. Kamiab's got to get his elbows out. As through as well is Sebastiano Pavan. Pavan there in the green and red helmet is now on the attack for the intermediate classification leader. You can see the frustration for Roman Kamiab at this point. A couple of laps ago he was in control. He was looking at retaking the lead in the IC. Now he's going backwards in this race as Pavan takes away his 8th place.
Yeah, he tried to fight back so soon earlier on as Fastainado getting the moves done there just behind. Yeah, he tried to get that move done straight away back on Ramekers. The problem is that because it was so early on in the race, all the other drivers were still there and they were able to capitalise straight away. Drama for Senminir and Victor Gustafsson. They've both just lost out in 3 places. Machedo, Crochet and Vavra have all got through as, here we go, back down the inside. And now Kamiab through past Pavan, and it's all starting to kick off just that little bit more for these drivers. And the more you see that, the slower they're going to go, and the further back into the pack they're going to go. These drivers have all gone through ahead. Pavan's back down to 11th place now, but this is the rest of the drivers all trying to break away. Tom Pradier, 2nd place, Nilsson, Sharp, and Karifahan as well. Right there, this is the battle for 2nd place on your screen, albeit much further up the road.
And all this changing back and forth is just handing this race to Thibaut Ramekers right now. It would move Ramekers into the top 5 in the intermediate classification. Kamiab would drop to 4th at the end of this round. As I say, was overnight leader on tiebreakers from time qualifying. Senna is under investigation for potentially causing a collision earlier on in the race. He's currently running in 19th place on the road. Pradier has got into a bit of a rhythm now, is edging away from Leo Nielsen there in 3rd place. Aston Sharp using a little bit of the curb out of turn number 1 into the first major overtaking zone of turn number 3. This race seems to have settled down, Anthony.
It has indeed. For the time being, though, we're only halfway through this race at the moment. Lap 8 of 13. Let's see how this all goes for the drivers. Still, Ramakas with that 3-second lead from the rest. As a look at your movers through the field. Shado up 10 places right now into P17 on a really good charge right now, and very close to the likes of Tatoja and Jacopo Martinez. Jacopo Martinez he's had a tricky day. You know, was very lucky yesterday in his second race. That red flag, of course, that came out, of course, with the incident between Chiara Martiglia and Francis. He was already out of that race at that point, but because that red flag happened on the opening lap, he was able to get a restart in, and then he came away with the P5.
Yeah, he was the luckiest Italian in the field. I think, as you say, it was a potentially weekend-changing moment that he got the reprieve from the race that, in terms of the history books, that never was. But at the moment, he's not really converting that opportunity into a good result here. 15th at the moment, similar to Christian Costoya. I would still expect to see Jacopo Martinez in the final, in that top 36 cut-off from the 80 or 90 so drivers that we've got here this weekend in the senior category. But the key is, if you're not in the top 15 in either the intermediate classification or the final intermediate classification, that's the one after the superheats tomorrow morning, you are not scoring further championship points. He is one of those drivers around 50-odd, 60 points behind Christian Costoya, but is not going to be closing that gap down at the moment. That's going to be handling the opportunity to the likes of Craigie, to the likes of Turney, to the likes of your race leader in this one, Thibaut Ramakas. They could take over as the closest challengers to Costoya by the time we get to Saturday's final.
Yes, certainly so. But so many of these drivers have looked competitive this weekend, and this track, I do remember it back in 2023, how competitive those finals were. So again, looking forward to seeing what will happen there. And that was, of course, a decider in the championship back then for the OKJ and OK categories. But let's see how this one goes for them this weekend. On to lap number 11 now of this race. And still, everyone just holding into position right now. No changes there for anyone inside the top 20.
Kamiab making a bit of a recovery. He's back up to 7th place in this race now, Anthony. That pulls him back ahead of Yuri Peschel in the intermediate classification. So, you know, it's like that when we get to the end of today, the end of the 5th round of heats, that will convert through into some championship points, 2 championship points to be exact for Roman Kamiab, although he is a bit further behind in the championship stakes within the senior category. End of lap number 11, Ramakas still leads by just under 2.8 seconds. The pace last time around pretty even across the top 3. They are all in the 50.4s. Fastest driver on circuit though, with a 50.2 that time around, Roman Kamiab. So again, indicating that the track, 4 race conditions, far more rubber has been laid down over the last few races, and yesterday as well. It's in a really, really good place at this moment.
And the temperature's good as well.
Yeah.
It's a little bit muggy, a little bit humid, a little bit out there. That may just be in the commentary box. But, you know, 21 degrees, nice temperature for the engines to run. It's not too hot or anything like that. The track temperature, I can imagine, is going to be still a bit low here. There's no sun hitting the track right now. There's still low cloud cover all the way over it, but it is still a nice day for racing. Oh, there you go, Sharp saying to get over go, or to Leo Nielsen, sorry, to go. Don't defend on this last lap, albeit, well, Sharp was going to look to the inside there. So could we see a change for 3rd place on this final lap of the race? Sharp again needs these good results, of course, but does he want to risk a 4th place finish for just a 3rd?
Well, that's a big question, especially when he's had 2 poor results so far this weekend. We are on the final lap of this race. Nielsen feels the need to softly defend there for 3rd place, but here's going to take 2nd place in this one. The pace from Ramakas in this race has been remarkable. We'll come back to his fastest lap after we see him take the checkered flag. Thibaut Ramakas over the line, takes another 50 points, and it's close on the line there. Sharp got him. Sharp got third right at the end there, ahead of Nielsen. Thomas Prodier a little bit further up the road will take a good haul of points, 44 of them in the intermediate standings for second place. But there is your race winner, Thibaut Ramackers, a 50.163 on the penultimate lap there, Anthony. That is less than 2/10 of what we saw in qualifying yesterday. That is magnificent pace.
Yeah, really, really strong pace. And this young man here certainly is looking for a better day today. That's his best result there, a P1. Back on the top spot for the Belgian driver, ahead of Thomas Prodier in second for France, and Aston Sharp, like you say, just getting it at the end in third place. Nilsson from Ferhan, Ivanikov from Kamyab, Pavan from Svan, Toby Gale rounding out the top 10. For Stalinardo from Jacopo Martinez, Sjelecki from Kara Osman, from Marcus Shulkunis, who rounds out the top 15, Dragata Troja and Louis Cochet. Antonio Macedo from Seneminir, Radek Vavra, Hugo Marti, Vengar Clementon, who round out the 22 finishes in that race. The retirement